Assalamu Alaikum wa rahmatullah, and welcome to another video, this time on Stalker 2. First of all, we're going to take a look at the settings, and I'm going to, talk a little bit here. So we're just on all low settings here, and pretty much, the low preset, nothing really different, nothing really changed. And yeah, and this game is an interesting one because it seems to consume a lot of RAM, and even in the Ally X, you actually have issues with stutters and like stuff like that because of the amount of RAM that it consumes, because the ROG Ally X is essentially sharing that RAM with the graphics memory. So it seems to need more than 16 gigabytes. But yeah, here we're testing on 1080p, and yeah, the performance in front of you, it's not good. And this is not even the most intensive area yet, by the way. And we are on the lowest preset, like lowest settings basically. You can of course go slightly lower, as in with the one or two settings like light shafts and stuff, I think. But wow, like and this is with upscaling too, because it does come with the TSR upscaling at 66% resolution at the low settings. So yeah, I mean, this is 1080p, so hey, maybe we have more hope otherwise. So just a quick brief look at different resolutions here, just to give you an idea that it's not worth running it in those resolutions, in my opinion. And 900p looks well, it looks decent. It runs much better, but it still dips below 30, as you can see. And honestly, playing a first-person shooter like this, where it's going under 30, I mean, even at 30, it just does not feel that good. Sorry for the 30 there, but okay, that was loud. But yeah, that's wow, and you can take a look here at 720p, which is basically what I'm going to be sticking to for the rest of the video, because quite frankly, after ruling out all these resolutions, I just don't think they're worth it. Again, choose your poison kind of thing. But we're getting like 40s looking at nothing, and if you look at something, you're getting like low 30s. This is better, as long as it doesn't dip below 30. It's, in my opinion, definitely better, because like I said, this is not even the most intensive area, so it's gonna get worse. But yeah, 30-watt testing, and the ROG Ally is just on its knees already, The VRAM usage is actually very good, but the RAM usage, total usage, it says is 14.5 gigabytes and stuff. Keep an eye on that, because that's definitely going to change a bit, but so far, not bad. Now, the upscale situation in this game is really mixed. Here we're testing TSR at 50% resolution, just for comparison with the balance preset of most other ones. And honestly, TSR is pretty good. It's kind of a bit like, it kind of has less ghosting, but it has more kind of image breakup. But overall, it's actually not that bad. TSR in motion, you can sort of see there. Maybe I can give it a little zoom there, but it's not that bad, honestly. And if you take a look at other upscalers like FSR, we're going to take a look at XeSS, and first of all, I think it's much more stable in terms of image breakup, but when you move, you see way more shimmering, way more ghosting, way more like kind of fizzle, behind objects, like trailing, behind objects. And it's kind of, it's pretty decent too. Like, honestly, they both have kind of their pros and cons. They're both not perfect, but they're usable. And then we have kind of the one which changed the game, but in this game, the implementation is horrible. FSR. I don't know if you can tell, but it becomes super pixelated, especially in motion. It is shimmery. It's constantly dancing. The pixels are just dancing, and it's so boxy. It's so horrible. I don't know what went wrong with FSR in this game, because it does not look this terrible in other games. It is much better. So yeah, FSR is definitely a no-go in my opinion. And I think XeSS is pretty decent, but TSR seems to give more FPS, and personally, I prefer that. But in your case, I would just say choose your poison, whichever you prefer, or whichever's look you like better. Pretty comparable overall. And yes, they do look better on the ROG Ally screen. That 200% zoom probably looks horrible on your side, but it looks better on the ROG Ally, trust me. And here's a little thing that I noticed that doesn't really seem to affect the performance all that much, is the shading. It's basically just SSAO, or ambient occlusion, as you see in most games. And you can see it looks really flat here. And I noticed just changing the option in the settings called shading to medium definitely makes it much better, in my opinion. I mean, it's not like a day and night different, but it definitely things look more grounded as a result. So I recommend you do that. Like I said, it doesn't really seem to take a big toll on the FPS, or in fact any toll, but maybe, I'm not sure. But from what I tested, seems to be pretty decent so far. Definitely recommend that. And now for some kind of basic gameplay, just to show you the performance on the way to the city area. I kind of switched to, switched the shading back to low, and we are at TSR 50%. So do keep that in mind. And yeah, like overall, stability wise, the game looks pretty, I mean, seems pretty decent so far, right? Like, what could possibly go wrong, right? What could possibly go wrong indeed? But yeah, like look at the memory usage is pretty decent. It's around 4 GB. That's not a lot. The VRAM usage. The RAM usage is climbing up. It's 15 GB almost now. And I have heard that this game does seem to have memory leak issues. Apparently, so the longer you play, like the more likely it's going to fill up your RAM and crash. But overall, 15 GB is not bad right now. This is total system usage. If you look at the Ally X, though, it's going to kind of struggle a bit because you're essentially maxing out. But the game seems to take 7 GB here. So like I said, maybe it's Windows allocating more than it needs to. Or maybe it's this game, but I'm not sure. And you'll see it'll struggle me a lot here. I do apologize for that. I could have just taken the other path. I don't know why I decided to. I figured that out later. Trust me, I got better. I got better. I have been on this path. I don't know why I decided to just not use my brain. Listen, it's really difficult to play this game on a tiny screen. I don't know why I struggled with it a lot. Anyhow, the FPS, you can see the huge stutter there. Wow, very nice, absolutely lovely. And the frame time is kind of going a bit crazy as we're entering the city area, or the town. I'm not really much of a city, but and it again, I'm struggling to find the entrance, but I'll eventually get there. Trust me. And the RAM is climbing up. By the way, it was like 15. It was like under 15 when we started, like around 14ish, and now it's almost 16. And I finally run the city. And this starting area, like the frame time is gonna be like, it's all over the place. Like, what is going on there? It's dancing. It was really stuttery here, by the way, super stuttery. Like not just the frame time, but it actually felt super stuttery and laggy, and it was like skipping frames and stuff like that. So the town, but you can see like after that initial area, it's sort of got a bit better, much better, but still I don't really like the 30 FPS kind of thing, and the uneven frame time does make it much more difficult. Maybe if you lock it to 30 FPS, it would be better. But this is, you can see what's going on here, and it's just the way it is. But here's something interesting we're gonna try in a second. Also, the RAM is 16 GB. We're gonna try frame generation. Frame generation is something that apparently is now like almost like recommended with games to reach 60 FPS. Like, what is going on? I mean, why? But when you turn it on, it was just loading that stutter. But look at that. Look at the frame time. Okay, ignore the FPS because that's always fake frames. But I did see 1 or 2 stutters, but after that, it was very nice. I don't know what happened, but the areas where the game was getting insanely stuttery, insanely skipping frames, feeling very like literally unplayable, suddenly started feeling much better. Like I said, I'm not sure how. Like, frame generation is not supposed to fix stutters, right? As far as I'm aware, it just gives you more FPS, and if the game is stuttery, it's gonna give you a more FPS but stuttery. You know what I mean? Like a higher average, but the 1% and the 0.1% lows are gonna be horrible still. But in this case, it kind of almost fixed the stutters. Like I said, I was shocked when I saw this, and I was like, "What's going on?" But there you go. That's quite something. And of course, outside of the city area, you get like 80 FPS. I was really trying to avoid that whatever anomaly thing there is, because I saw some guy playing the game, and he got kind of sucked into the anomaly a bunch of times, and I got like PTSD from that. So I want to avoid that absolutely. I don't want to do that. But other than that, you can see like the game runs really well in this area. Now I'm not saying this that frame generation is a band-aid. The input lag is definitely not the worst. It's actually bearable. You can almost see that in the video. Like if I press it, like especially when I was moving around fast at the start, you can sort of tell there's like a bit of a delay. But on the controller itself, like which is obviously ROG Ally, you don't feel that input lag much. And not only that, it's much playable. But I would struggle to aim and shoot. I'm not gonna lie with the first person shooter like this because anything under 60 I think becomes very difficult to shoot, and I'm talking 60 real FPS, not 60 interpolated or AI based or frame 10 FPS. And what am I doing here? But that's just that's Stalker 2 on the ROG Ally. I mean, what else do you want? A game that runs in 2024 horribly, but I mean, I hope it's a fun game. Maybe you guys can tell me in the comments about that one because I haven't played much about it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.